Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Grizzly Bear Sim's YouTube channel, and welcome back to Thornton Farm, episode number 21. And I normally don't play the game or record videos in the sort of the twilight hours like this, but we really don't have much of a choice in the matter, simply because let me go ahead and get the combine here unfolded, because as you can see, um, this is late evening on the fourth game day of autumn, or the fourth game day of fall, however you look at that. And we've had a busy day today, but tomorrow is the last day that we have where we don't have to worry about rain. And so I was just, for the sake of just being comfortable, I think I felt that we really needed to work on and try to get field number 30 as much as possible um, harvested. This is, of course, sunflowers, and get this field harvested. And then, of course, maybe tomorrow, the game day tomorrow, because we do have sunshine tomorrow, we will work in field number 31, which is our other sunflower field. And then basically I realized that I sort of turned the wrong way, so let me back up here, and we're gonna kind of go the other way here. Um, but do field number 31 tomorrow, which is the second field of sunflower, and then leave field number 29 for last, and that is our cornfield. And I hope and I think that we will basically get everything done. We've been working hard. The boys, Smithy, Thomas, Sid, have all been working hard here for us. Let's get some light on the subject there. And it's okay to harvest at night. Again, one of the reasons why I don't do it typically, or one of the reasons why I don't do a whole lot of videos recorded in the twilight hours, either very early morning or very late evening, or even in the middle of the night, simply is down to the fact that it is harder for you guys to see the stuff that is going on. But we are role playing in this series, and part of role playing is getting things done, and basically, having to just deal with the punches that are thrown at us. And of course, it's not been the most favorable fall. At least it certainly hasn't been before this particular point in time, or this particular date. And it's certainly not going to be favorable the last 3 game days of fall and the first game day of winter. It's all going to be the last 4 game days of fall, I should say, because we've got rain and then snow, and then looks like first game day of winter is going to be sunny and 42. So anyway, it is what it is, as I often say. And then again, as my wife will often come back and say after that, but what is it? But it is just a challenge, and it's a challenge that we basically will rise to, and we will win. We will be victorious. We will be the champions. We are the champions. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope everyone is having a really wonderful, wonderful day. The coffee this morning is strong, it is hot, and it is good. I have never had many addictions in my life, or many vices, as one might say. Was never got into, fortunately, knock on wood, I never got into drugs as a young person. Never had a problem with alcohol. Didn't have an overly sweet tooth as a child, and certainly that hasn't played into my adulthood. I can have a soda, or I can do without a soda. I typically drink mostly water, and drink mostly iced tea. And unlike a lot of my fellow Texans and Southerners, I actually can, and I do quite enjoy unsweetened iced tea. Um, it's just something, I guess, that if there was one thing that my parents did right, um, I from my early memories, I have been drinking iced tea, and I suppose that my parents, um, they would buy Kool-Aid, they would buy sodas, things like that, and I would have those, and I could drink them pretty much any time. I don't have any memories of being somewhat limited on the amount of sodas that I could drink. I think they just more or less left it up to me, and because I really didn't have any sort of habit or felt the need to overindulge with too many sodas, with too much sugar and all that kind of stuff, I think that they just kind of let it go, and again, it wasn't a problem for me, but I think that again, from my very early memories, I've always remembered drinking iced tea, and I think that them getting me started out on it unsweet was probably the healthier choice. I mean, I suppose we could argue that maybe it's not that healthy to be raising a child or allowing a child to drink tea, to drink caffeinated type beverages such as that. I also began drinking coffee at a very young age as well. But I think that's just kind of that was the culture of the late '60s and '70s, and it just that's just the way it was. But yeah, I mostly drink unsweetened iced tea and water, and but I do enjoy my coffee, and I enjoy it nice and hot and strong. And I guess if I have to admit that there is one thing that I struggle to do without, there are times, you got to go to, you got to fast or something for medical blood work or something like that, every once a year when I go have my physical, when I have to have my cholesterol checked, things like that, oftentimes I will have to forego the cup of coffee until after my blood work, because most of the time for something like that you do need to fast. You can't have anything to drink typically after midnight, and certainly not before your blood work is drawn. So typically I make those appointments for 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, whenever the lab or the clinic opens up, and manage to get in there and get my shirt sleeve rolled up, and hopefully they can, the blood technician can find the vein quickly. And all right, so let's go ahead and pipe out here, and we'll get out. And we'll jog over here to our big John Deere 8530. We've been using this combination, this tandem of the John Deere 8530 and the Penta tipper. It's been working out really awesome here on this map. And we'll just go down here and turn around and come back around the other direction. And this map is small enough that I don't feel the need to set up course play transport routes from the field and all that kind of stuff. I also think it's potentially a little bit of a challenge with regards to the smaller roads and all that kind of stuff, and trying to set up course play to handle this. And for the most part, most of these fields the yield hasn't been more than what the tipper can actually hold. And in some cases, as you may have noticed from the soybeans that we did in the previous game day or so, or the previous episode or so, it really, most of the time, we can get both fields or even more of product onto our tipper. So, but of course, with like Midtown USA, with maps like that where things are a little bigger, fields are bigger, We will be doing course play where we'll be shuttling the grain and stuff off the field, probably with course play, and may do some auger wagon work as well, especially on the really big fields. And then of course, to maximize our time, and not real sure what the weather forecast is going to throw at us as we get closer to that midsummer time frame, when we're hoping to be able to do the double crops on a couple of those fields, get the wheat and barley off, get the straw baled, get the bales off the field, get the fields cultivated, get the fields fertilized, basically turned around. We don't know what the weather forecast is going to look like when it comes that time frame, so we'll just have to do the best we can once we get there. So by now you guys have been getting a couple of episodes, 2 episodes of Thornton Farm, 2 episodes of Midtown USA, and then a few episodes of Cattle and Crops mission work each week. Just got to turn off my heater that's behind me that's singeing the hair on my arms. And so, as I had mentioned in one of the last episodes of Midtown USA that you had watched, at some point my production schedule, my video release schedule, or whatever we want to call it, will probably drop back to less than 7 videos per week. I'm recording this episode on the 7th of January. I'm still working with a queue. I feel more comfortable this way, and at this particular point in time, I think the week before, and including even today, you guys had a video. So you had videos on both Saturday and Sunday. Those were cattle and crop videos, mission videos. So once we get the missions done on cattle and crops, I will sort of determine what direction I want to go as far as cattle and crops is concerned. Cattle and crops is quite limited in its functionality, its features and everything at the current state. And again, this is as of Sunday morning, the 7th of January, the version 0.1.0.1. We can only sow and harvest corn. So, not a whole lot of stuff that we can do. So if I decide to do a full-blown Let's Play type style video series on that map, it most likely will be very, very limited in what we can do, as well as it will be rather limited in what the video, the Let's Play series and everything will obviously be about. So one thing that I will just say, and I consider myself to be a man of my word. I was raised in a time where, a man's word was his bond, all that kind of stuff. I grew up watching all of the best westerns and everything, and truly understand the way of life, the way things were back then. That's how I was raised. That's how my grandfather raised my father. That's how my father raised me. It's very, very important. And one thing that what I'm coming around to saying is that I don't say things just for the sake of saying things. I don't talk about things just for the sake of having something to talk about. I typically mean what I say, and I say what I mean. But I want to clarify something, because I know I have said this a couple of times, and somebody, and I'm not going to mention their name because they were kind enough to bring this conversation sort of offline, sort of in a private fashion, And let me pause just one moment and take care of that tractor. They were kind enough to bring this information to me in a private conversation, and they sort of asked me to maybe clarify a comment that I have made a couple of times, and I have made it back in the probably around this time of 2017 as we began anticipating, really looking forward to the release of cattle and crops. And of course I've said it in other points in time as well, and I've blogged about it as well. So basically, let me cut to the chase here. I have said before that I really didn't have a need for multiple applications, multiple games that basically participate in or are about the agricultural based simulation genre. Okay, so said another way, if, and I often would say this, if cattle and crops or any of these others could become a application, an agricultural based simulation game application that would be far better than Giant's Farm Sim series, I would no longer have a need for Giant's Farm Sim. In other words, I would be looking at going with the best of breed. Now I know that there are a lot of people that are Giants fans, and that's great, and I am too. I am too. And let me just say that as I'm sitting here today on the 7th of January, and I'm sure that this will still be applicable when this video does decide to drop, when I publish this video out on the channel, which will be a week or so down the road, that Giants will still be the best of breed, the best that we have available. Cattle and crops is not, cattle and crops, as I'm not paying attention, cattle and crops is not going to, at this particular point in time, in the span of time that we have left in January or February or March, or dare I even say 2018, going to basically surpass Giants quality and Giants functionality and Giants features and all those kind of things. Now that's not to say that it won't in time. I think it's going to be really telling to see what Giants releases as Farm Sim 19, FS19. If FS19 is simply just more or less the same as what we have seen in 15 and 17, then I'm going to say sort of shame on Giants for not putting more features into their game. And I've talked about this, I know, at great length, and I'm going to get to my point here in just a moment. But essentially, I know I've said that, you know, I would drop Farm Sim, or I would drop the Giants version. I don't see that happening anytime soon. Cattle and Crops is not going to replace the dominating or the dominant video on my channel, or the video, the program, the simulation program on my channel. It's just not going to happen. I don't foresee it happening. I don't foresee it happening in 2018. And you know, who's to say what the future holds and what all will happen down the road. I do like, as I've talked about before, I like the immersion, the level of immersion and everything that I think Cattle and Crops is trying to achieve. But you know, there's some problems, there's some bugs. They've got a long way to go. Talking to you guys. Anyway, that's just all that's what I wanted to say about that. I'm sorry that I have sort of spent the better part of about 15 minutes or so sort of being out of the role play function and everything. So my apologies for that. But I did want to just, I guess, set the record straight and say that, you know, yeah, I do say what I mean, and I mean what I say. And yeah, I will still stand by the fact that if something changes, and one becomes more dominant than the other one, and one provides me um, more realism than what the others do, then I might very well consider that that's going to be my go-to application. But that's going to be down the road. That is well down the road. Giants could surprise us all with Farm Sim 19, and we could start seeing things, as I've talked about in previous episodes, being added to the game and not rely on mods so much, and different stuff. I mean, Giants have really impressed me for the past year and a half or so. I've got to say that they did a fantastic job. Giants did a fantastic job communicating, and they started this, I think, in like the summer of 2016, giving us sneak peeks into what Farm Sim 17 was going to be. And so I think we can look for, hopefully they'll do the same thing. I'm sure they will. I think hopefully they realize that that was something that we all were excited about, and that come around, late spring or very early summer of this year, we'll start to see more things coming from them that basically will let us know what Farm Sim 19 is going to basically have, and what it's going to be, what it's going to consist of, etc. So we can't leave these couple of sunflower stalks out here in the field. That is just not right at all. So we're going to get those, and just like that, that is done. All right, so we need to pipe out, and we need to go ahead and empty this, because unfortunately, and I don't know if this is the way in real life, and if any of you guys are familiar, please let me know. Let me know what the deal is. But I would think that you could close a combine up, or you could close the top of the combine up if it had grain in it. But Farm Sim 17, and this same with 15, it did not allow us to close the combine up if we had grain in the tank. And I would just think that I would think that functionality would exist, because again, what if you're out working in the field, and all of a sudden there's a rainstorm comes, and it's quick moving and everything. I would think that you would want to have the ability to sort of batten down the hatches, if you will, and get that thing closed up. So we're gonna move the combine just right over here, and we're gonna be done for today. This is gonna basically close out this episode here momentarily. We'll turn our headlights off so that we don't shine the lights into the church. And when we come together for episode number 22, we will most likely, I will harvest the sunflowers on field number 31 off camera, and then we will be getting into the trenches of getting the corn, the maize off the field over on field number 29. So I think that is what we're going to end up doing. So since we don't have a cover for our Penta, or we certainly don't have it with us, we're going to go ahead and carry the sunflower seeds, or the sunflowers, back to the main farm for the night, and that way we can get these things put in the grain silo, and so they don't get ruined in case there's a light sprinkle tonight or something. I don't think we're expecting a rain event this evening, but you never know. So anyway, without further ado, folks, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up here, and wish you all a very, very great evening and day and all that kind of stuff, depending on when you're watching this video. This is about 25 minutes or so, so I'll let you get on about your day and everything a bit early. We've still obviously got to take care of these fields, getting these fields prepped for oilseed radish. And so we'll get the boys working on that pretty diligently tomorrow. 7:41, I think I will head over here to the pub and just give Mr. Thornton an update on how things progressed, and and then basically be back with you for the next episode, getting that corn off the field. So until then, folks, thanks for watching. I appreciate you allowing me to sit here and babble as I often do. I'll try to remember for the next episode to try to stay a little bit more in character and focus on the role play aspects of the game and such as that. So thank you again for watching. God bless to all of you. Take good care of yourselves and each other. We're all that we have here to do that. And I will speak to you the very next episode. Bye bye for now.